She said, "I'm going silent for a week. I need to see if you'll put in the effort." So I gave her exactly what she asked for. I thought Emma and I were solid. Unshakable, even. That was probably my mistake right there. Assuming that what felt like bedrock to me felt the same to her. We'd been together for 2.5 years. Not the longest relationship in the world, but long enough that I'd learned the specific way she liked her morning tea. Long enough that I knew which side of the bed she preferred. Long enough that her laugh had become the soundtrack to my everyday life. I was the guy who showed up. The one who remembered to pick up her prescriptions when she was swamped with work. The one who drove 3 hours to help her sister move into a new apartment because Emma asked. I thought that was what love looked like in practice, showing up, being present, being reliable. Hello friends, before I continue the story, please support the channel by becoming a subscriber and giving the video a like. Also, let us know in the comments where you're watching right now. It was a Thursday night when everything came apart. We were in my living room, a place that had become as much hers as mine over the months. The apartment smelled faintly of the Indian takeout we'd just finished, containers still open on the coffee table. She was curled up on the far end of the couch, her legs tucked beneath her, staring at her phone with an expression I'd seen more and more lately. Distant, dissatisfied, somewhere else entirely. I was scrolling through Netflix, trying to find something we could watch together. It had become harder lately. She'd shoot down my suggestions with a dismissive "seen it" or "not in the mood." But she wouldn't offer alternatives. Just sighs and silences. You good?" I asked, pausing on some documentary about ocean life. "You've been quiet all night." She didn't look up. "I'm fine." Fine. That word. I'd learned that fine was never actually fine, but I'd also learned that pushing too hard made things worse. So I gave her space, went back to scrolling. But she wasn't done. "Actually, no," she said suddenly, her voice cutting through the low hum of the TV. "I'm not fine." I set the remote down, turning to face her fully. "Okay, what's going on?" She finally looked at me, and there was something in her eyes I didn't recognize. Not sadness exactly. Not anger. Something colder. More calculated. "Do you ever think about us, Jason? Like, really think about us?" My stomach dropped a little. That kind of question never led anywhere good. "Of course I do. All the time. What's this about?" She set her phone down, straightening up, and I could tell she'd been rehearsing this. The words came out too smooth, too prepared. "I feel like we're stagnant, like we're just existing together. There's no passion anymore, no effort. You're comfortable, and I'm just here." I blinked, completely blindsided. "Emma, what are you talking about? I put in effort every single day." You do the basics," she interrupted, her voice rising slightly. "You show up, sure. You're dependable. But when's the last time you swept me off my feet? When's the last time you did something that made me feel like you actually had to work to keep me?" I stared at her, my mind racing through the past few months. I'd planned a weekend trip to the coast for her birthday. I'd surprised her with tickets to see her favorite band. I'd spent an entire Saturday helping her repaint her home office because she mentioned wanting a change. "I don't understand," I said slowly. "What exactly are you looking for here?" She stood up, pacing now, and I could see she was winding up to something. This wasn't just a conversation. This was a prepared statement. "I need to know if you'll fight for me," she said, stopping to face me. "If you'll actually put in the work when things get hard." "So I've decided something." My pulse quickened. Nothing good ever followed. "I've decided something. I'm going silent for a week," she announced, her chin lifted slightly, defiant. "No calls, no texts, no contact. I'm staying at my place. I need you to prove to me that you care, that you'll chase me, that I'm worth fighting for." The room seemed to tilt. I sat there, frozen, trying to process what I was hearing. "You're testing me?" I asked, my voice flat with disbelief. "I'm giving you a chance," she corrected, like she was doing me a favor. "A chance to show me what I mean to you. If you really love me, you'll make the grand gestures. You'll prove it." I felt something shift inside me. Not heartbreak, not panic, Something quieter and far more dangerous, clarity. And if I don't? I asked. She grabbed her purse from the chair, slinging it over her shoulder. That smile, that knowing, superior smile, played at the corners of her mouth. Then I'll have my answer, won't I? She walked to the door, paused with her hand on the knob, and looked back at me like she was the director of a movie and I was the actor who hadn't learned his lines. 1 week, Jason. Starting now. The door closed behind her with a soft click that echoed like a gunshot. I sat there in the sudden silence, the documentary auto-playing in the background. Whales singing their deep, mournful songs. The takeout containers sat on the table, half-eaten and cold. And for the first time in 2.5 years, I felt completely, utterly alone in a space that used to feel like ours. The first night was strange. Not painful, just strange. I cleaned up the takeout, wiped down the coffee table, and put the containers in the recycling. Mechanical movements. Autopilot. My phone sat on the counter, silent and accusatory. I picked it up a dozen times, thumb hovering over her contact, muscle memory almost sending a, "You get home okay?" text. But I didn't. She wanted silence. She'd get silence. I showered, changed into sweats, and climbed into bed. Felt bigger than usual. Emptier. But as I lay there staring at the ceiling, that strange clarity from earlier began to solidify into something sharper. She'd turned our relationship into a game. A test with rules I hadn't agreed to and conditions I hadn't set. And the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Not the explosive kind of anger, but the cold, focused kind that burns away confusion and leaves only truth. What kind of person does that? What kind of love requires you to jump through hoops to prove your worth? I thought about all the times I'd shown up for her. The real moments. Not grand gestures or movie scenes, but the actual work of loving someone. Holding her hair back when she had food poisoning. Listening to her vent about her nightmare boss for 45 minutes straight without offering solutions, just presence. Learning to make her grandmother's lemon cake from scratch because she mentioned missing it. None of that counted, apparently, because it wasn't loud enough, wasn't performative enough. I didn't sleep much that night, but when I did, I slept soundly. Friday morning, I woke up to silence. No good morning text. No, what are you doing today? Message. Nothing. Good. I made coffee, strong and black, and sat on my small balcony watching the city wake up. The sun was just starting to burn through the morning haze. Birds were doing their thing in the trees below. Life indifferent and ongoing. My phone buzzed. For a split second, my heart jumped. But it was just Alex, my buddy from work. Alex. Drinks tonight? You seem like you need drinks. I smiled slightly. Alex had a sixth sense for these things. Me, yeah. Badly. 7? Alex. Done. Murphy's. I pocketed my phone and went for a run. I hadn't run in weeks. Emma always complained that I smelled like sweat afterward, even after I showered, so I'd stopped. But that morning, I laced up my shoes and hit the pavement hard. 3 miles. 5. 7. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs screamed and my mind went beautifully, blessedly quiet. When I got back, I felt lighter, clearer. I showered, made breakfast, and sat down at my laptop. I had work to catch up on, a project I'd been half-assing because I'd been too distracted by Emma's mood swings. I dove in, and for the first time in weeks, I found flow. Hours passed. I didn't check my phone once. That night at Murphy's, Alex took one look at me and ordered us both whiskey. "All right," he said, sliding the glass across the bar. "What happened?" I told him everything. The speech, the test, the week of silence. He stared at me for a long moment, then drained half his whiskey in one go. "That's the most manipulative thing I've ever heard," he said flatly. "Please tell me you're not actually playing along." I shook my head slowly. "I don't think I am." "Good, because that's not love, man. That's a power trip." I nodded. I'd been thinking the same thing all day, but hearing someone else say it out loud made it real. "She wants you to chase her," Alex continued, "to beg, to prove she's got you on a leash. And if you do it, if you send the flowers and the texts and the dramatic speeches, you know what happens." "What?" "You'll pass this test." And then there'll be another one. And another. Because the game won't stop. The bar will just keep moving. I let that sink in, swirling the amber liquid in my glass. So what do? I asked, though I already knew the answer. You do exactly what she asked for, Alex said, meeting my eyes. You give her silence. And you take care of yourself. We clinked glasses, and I felt that strange peace settle over me again. The kind that comes from making a hard decision and knowing it's the right one. Saturday. Day 2. I woke up without the weight of dread I'd expected. I actually felt good. Rested. I made pancakes, something Emma always said were too heavy for breakfast, and ate them slowly while reading a book I'd been meaning to get to for months. Around noon, my phone buzzed. My stomach clenched. It was her. Emma, hey. Just that. Hey. Like she was testing the waters, seeing if I'd break. I stared at the message for a full minute. My thumbs hovered over the keyboard. 1,000 responses ran through my head. Then I locked my phone and set it face down on the table. No, she'd set the rules. 1 week of silence. I was giving her exactly what she'd asked for. I went to the hardware store and bought supplies to fix the wobbly shelf in my closet. A project I'd been putting off for months. I spent the afternoon with a drill and a level, losing myself in the simple satisfaction of building something, fixing something. My phone buzzed 3 more times that afternoon. I didn't check it. By evening, I'd finished the shelf, cleaned my entire apartment, and ordered pizza, the kind with extra pepperoni and jalapenos that Emma hated. I ate it on the couch watching a dumb action movie with explosions and zero emotional depth. It was perfect. Sunday morning, I went to the gym. Another thing I'd let slide because Emma thought gym guys were obsessed with themselves. I lifted until my muscles shook, swam laps until my mind went blank and quiet. In the locker room afterward, my phone rang. Emma. Not a text. A call. I watched her name flash on the screen, the photo of her smiling at the beach that I'd set months ago. She looked happy in that picture. We'd been happy. I let it ring out. 30 seconds later, it rang again. I answered this time, not because I wanted to cave, but because I was curious. What could possibly justify breaking her own rules on day 3 of 7? Hello. My voice was calm, flat. Jason. Oh my God. Finally. Her voice was frantic, breathless. Why haven't you been answering? I've been texting you since yesterday. I said nothing. Are you there, Jason? I'm here, I said evenly. You asked for a week of silence. It's only been 2 days. I didn't mean. She stopped herself, recalibrating. I could practically hear the gears turning. I just needed to know you were okay. I saw you posted on Instagram. I had posted a picture of my morning coffee on the balcony. Simple, normal, my life continuing without her. I'm fine, I said. You're fine. Her voice pitched higher, incredulous. That's it? You're fine? Jason, I'm falling apart over here, and you're just posting coffee pictures. The desperation in her voice was palpable. This wasn't the script she'd written. I was supposed to be blowing up her phone, sending long, emotional texts, maybe showing up at her door with flowers and apologies. Emma, you wanted space to see if I'd fight for you. You set the rules. I didn't think you just. She cut herself off again, and I heard something crack in her voice. Don't you even miss me? That question hung in the air between us. Did I miss her? I missed the version of her that used to exist, maybe. The one who laughed at my dumb jokes and fell asleep on my shoulder during movies. But that person had been fading for months, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Someone who needed constant validation, constant proof, constant drama. This was your test, Emma, I said quietly. And I think we both just got our answer. What's that supposed to mean? I took a breath. This was the moment, the cliff's edge. It means we're done. Silence. Complete, shocked silence. You can't be serious, she finally whispered. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. Jason, no, wait. I hope you figure out whatever it is you're looking for. I continued, my voice gentle but immovable. But you won't find it with me. Not like this. Not with games and tests and hoops to jump through. That's not love. That's not partnership. That's just exhausting. Please, she said, and now she was crying. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. I just wanted to feel wanted. I know, you wanted to feel wanted. But Emma, I showed you that every single day in 100 small ways, and it was never enough. It was never loud enough or dramatic enough. So you created a test I couldn't pass without losing myself. That's not. Goodbye, Emma. I ended the call. My hand was steady as I blocked her number, blocked her on social media, blocked every avenue she'd used to reach me. Then I sat down on the locker room bench and exhaled slowly. It was done. The next few weeks were strange. Not bad strange, just different. There were moments when muscle memory kicked in and I'd reach for my phone to send her a funny meme or tell her about something that happened at work. But those moments got fewer and farther between. I threw myself into work. A big project had been languishing on my desk, one I'd been too distracted to tackle properly. Now I had focus, energy, clarity. I worked late, came in early, and delivered a proposal that impressed my boss enough to call me into her office. "Jason, this is exceptional work," she said, looking over the presentation. "I'm putting you forward for the team lead position. You've really stepped up lately." The promotion came with a raise, more responsibility, and a renewed sense of purpose. I felt like myself again. Better than myself, actually. I felt like who I was supposed to be without someone else's expectations weighing me down. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted from. Marcus, my college roommate, who Emma had always found immature. We started playing basketball on Wednesday nights, and I remembered how much I'd missed that easy, uncomplicated friendship. I took a pottery class on a whim, something I'd always wanted to try but Emma had mocked as suburban mom energy. I was terrible at it, but I didn't care. I showed up every Tuesday night, got my hands muddy, and made lopsided bowls that I was weirdly proud of. My apartment became mine again. I moved furniture around, hung up art I actually liked instead of what fit Emma's aesthetic, bought a ridiculous oversized beanbag chair because it was comfortable and I didn't need anyone's approval. I was building a life that was entirely my own, and it felt incredible. Meanwhile, Emma's world was apparently imploding. I heard about it through the grapevine. Mutual friends who couldn't help but update me even though I never asked. She'd been telling people her version of events, that I'd abandoned her during a vulnerable moment, that I couldn't handle a strong woman with needs, that she'd dodged a bullet with someone so emotionally unavailable. At first, people seemed sympathetic to her. But as the story made the rounds and more details emerged, the narrative shifted. Wait, she demanded a week of silence and then got mad when he actually gave it to her? I overheard at a party I attended with Marcus. "That's manipulation," someone else said. "Like textbook manipulation." The tide of public opinion turned slowly but decisively. Emma had cast herself as the victim, but the more she talked, the more people saw through it. She started texting from new numbers. I'd blocked her main number, so she'd borrow friends' phones. "Unknown Jason, please. We need to talk. This is childish." I blocked it. "Unknown. I miss you. I made a mistake. Can't we fix this?" Blocked. "Unknown. You're really going to throw away everything we had over one argument?" Blocked. Each one was easier than the last. Then came the social media posts. Cryptic Instagram stories with sad song lyrics. A Facebook post about knowing your worth and not settling for men who can't meet you halfway. I didn't respond, didn't react, didn't engage. Her silence had been a weapon. My silence was a shield. 3 months passed. 3 months of steady, peaceful growth. I got the promotion officially. Team lead, corner desk, actual leadership responsibilities. It was challenging and fulfilling in ways I hadn't expected. I started dating again casually. Nothing serious, but it was nice to remember that there were other people out there. People who didn't need me to prove myself constantly, who appreciated effort without demanding performance. I ran a half marathon, something I'd always wanted to do. Crossed the finish line with Marcus cheering like a lunatic from the sidelines. My life had become unrecognizable from the one I'd lived with Emma, and I'd never been happier. Then one Saturday afternoon, I was at a coffee shop near my new place, working on a presentation on my laptop. The place was warm and busy, filled with the comfortable noise of conversation and espresso machines. A shadow fell across my table. I looked up. Emma. She looked different. Thinner, maybe. Tired. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she wasn't wearing makeup. She looked like she was trying to appear casual, but had clearly engineered this coincidence. "Jason," she said softly, "can we talk? Please." I sat back in my chair, closing my laptop slowly. I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel sadness. I felt nothing except a mild curiosity, like seeing a character from an old TV show you used to watch. "Sure," I said, gesturing to the chair across from me. She sat, clutching her purse in her lap like a shield. For a long moment, she didn't speak, just looked at me with those big eyes that used to make me want to fix everything. "I've been miserable," she finally said. "Absolutely miserable. I know I messed up. I know it was stupid, that test. But you gave up. You didn't fight." I let her words hang in the air. "I've been going to therapy," she continued, clearly trying a different angle. "Working on myself. Understanding why I did what I did. And I realize now that I was scared. Scared of how much I loved you. So I pushed you away to see if you'd come back." She reached across the table like she was going to take my hand, but I didn't move. "We can start over," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "We can fix this. I'm different now. I understand what I put you through." I studied her face, searched for any sign that this was genuine growth and not just another performance. But all I saw was someone who'd lost control of their narrative and desperately wanted it back. "Emma," I said gently, "I'm glad you're in therapy. I really am. That's good for you." Hope flickered in her eyes. "But we're not getting back together." The hope died immediately, replaced by confusion, then anger. "After everything?" she demanded. "After 3 months, you can't even give me a chance? I'm here, apologizing, trying to fix things, and you're just going to throw it away." "You asked me to fight for you," I said calmly. "And I did, just not in the way you wanted. I fought for my peace, for my self-respect, for a life where I didn't have to constantly prove I was enough. That's not. You wanted to see if I'd chase you, beg for you, make grand gestures to win you back. But Emma, love isn't a performance. It's not a test. It's showing up every day in small ways. And I did that for 2.5 years. It just wasn't dramatic enough for you." She stared at me, her mouth opening and closing, searching for words. "I'm happy now," I continued, "genuinely happy. My life is good. I'm building something real, something that's mine. And I'm not going to trade that for someone who needs me to be constantly proving myself. So that's it." Her voice was sharp now, bitter. "You're just done? You don't even care." I stood, gathering my laptop and slipping it into my bag. I pulled out my wallet and left a 20 on the table for my coffee. "I hope you find what you're looking for," I said, meeting her eyes one last time. "I really do. But it won't be with me. We're done, Emma. Completely." I walked toward the door, and this time I felt nothing pulling me back. No doubt, no regret, no lingering what-ifs. As I stepped out into the bright afternoon sun, my phone buzzed. "Marcus, still on for the game tonight? Bringing pizza." I smiled, typing back quickly. "Me, absolutely. Extra pepperoni." I pocketed my phone and walked down the street, the spring air warm on my face, my life waiting ahead of me. Full, peaceful, and entirely my own. Thank you for watching all the way through. There's another story to your left screen. You'll enjoy it more than this one.